This is one of the best films that we got in this year, and the guy in it, the guy who made it, the guy that it's about, he's absolutely amazing. And this is a world premiere. This is, well, we showed it before yesterday, and so at this festival, this is a world premiere for us, and this is going to be big. So I hope you enjoy it. Get happy.
You know, I did David Dupre because I felt weird putting my name at the end of the film. And I'm not really a filmmaker or a director, so I thought, you know, so I switched it to David, and I figured most people wouldn't get it, and I'd do the asterisk and see if people got it, because David was actually the secretary that my mom was referring to, and that was always called as David Dupre, so now he's a director too. So, and then originally the film actually started out, I should explain, it was a birthday video, and a friend of mine that was a filmmaker and his friend that was an editor said, it was for my 40th birthday, and we decided to do a little screening, and none of my clients or anybody knew what I had done, and so I thought, well, it'd be fun to kind of let them in. So I showed up with like 8 boxes of videotapes and home movies, and they were like, okay, we're gonna have to have some help. We can't do this all on our own. So I ended up pretty much doing most of it, because then once I started watching the video footage, I got very specific about what I wanted and what I didn't want, and what I wanted seen and what I didn't want seen, which may have been a good or a bad thing, but I was pretty detail oriented when it came to that. And then we did the screening, and then a lot of the people that were there were actors and actresses and filmmakers, and like, this needs to be a short film. You realize that. It's got to go to the film festival circuit. So I said, well, you know, think about it. So 6 months went by, and then I revisited it, and I did it, and it took quite a while. It took a couple of years, and it kind of, that's how this happened, and it became what it is today. One time my sewing machine broke, and I had this job to go do, and I mean, I was probably like 13 years old, and so I just picked up the beads and the sequins and the fabric, and I went down to the neighbor's house and knocked on their door. These people I'd never even met before, like 2 doors down. I kept knocking until I got somebody that had a sewing machine. I said, can I borrow? And their sewing machine wasn't a portable, it was like built in. So I said, well, I was so pushy, I can't believe I did. I would never do this now. I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna come in and sew. So they let me. So I went into these people's house, and I'm like trying on all these, you know, I'm putting the thing, because, you know, when I would make these costumes, I'd fit them on myself, and so I probably stripped down to like a t-shirt and underwear in these people's house, and I was like, you know, after I'd sew it up, I'd put it on and fit it around my neck and like pin it and then take it off and sew it a little bit more and then make sure it fit. And these people were probably like, but I just knew I had a job to get done, and I had a show to do, and nothing was going to stop me. So I forgot what the question was. Oh, the neighbors. You said the neighbors it must have been a trip with the neighbors. Did I answer your question?
How long you were rehearsing for it?
Oh, how long? That's a good question, because, you know, you kind of visit certain things, and I mean, when we moved out to the garage, it kind of opened up a whole other world, because it kind of became like a set, and I started building things. And it just became a little bit more elaborate, and the living room was a little more contained. So the garage, I probably spent more time. I mean, I would study them, and then I'd kind of go do it. And, you know, once we moved away from home movies and stuff and started doing video, it was great. I had the monitor going, and then I got really demanding with my mother, and I was like, okay, so the lights got to come down to there, and then I'd look at the video, I'd watch the video of like the person and how they were shot, and the angle that they were shot at, and I'd be telling my mom, okay, the tripod's got to come down just a little bit more there, and I'd be watching, and I'd be looking around, and looking at it, I'd be comparing, and I mean, I was very, very detail-oriented about the whole thing. So actually, the video stuff would go all night. I mean, I never went to school. I mean, it's like, I'd be up all night, we'd be up all night filming. So, you know, it was like my life. And then my mom, this is the best part, I really should put this in the film. My mom, the next day after, you know, she'd go into work, and she owned a beauty salon, and she'd set up, once we started doing, they had the day of the Betamax, we had a Betamax. We'd take the Betamax to the salon, and she'd show her customers, her clients coming into the salon, these videos. And they were like, I mean, these people must have been really shocked, because here we are in Texas, and Houston was really conservative, like in the late 70s. I mean, it's just kind of, and my mom never even like thought about it, and neither did I. So.
I missed the first couple minutes of the film.
Oh, that's okay.
So maybe this is a redundant question. I'm very interested at such an early age, how did you get exposure to who Liza Minnelli was and Barbara Streisand was? Because most people that are 12, 13, 14, maybe not so tuned into that.
Okay, do we have a minute? It's just, it's...
Was that in the film? I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you didn't miss it. I mean, actually, it's not in there. And it was my aunt who saw the, did you see the Brady Bunch section?
Yeah.
Okay, so the aunt, we went to go visit them in San Francisco. And, I mean, the kids were just absolutely obnoxious. And they're my cousins, but we don't speak. And my aunt actually sent me those pictures for the section, and I was kind of shocked. So I felt like I kind of had to be nice about it, not be mean. And it's funny how much anger you have. When I did that voiceover, the first go at it, the other was like, oh my God, you have little anger issues with her. I think the film, you could take it in a whole other direction. It's like, she was a bitch. I was like, I was really going to town on her. And it was like, okay. And so it took a couple of stabs at it to get that voiceover to where it kind of worked. And in answer to your question, we went to San Francisco to visit them one summer. It was probably when I was about 11. And I was just desperate to get out of the house. And my aunt said, you can't go to San Francisco because there's gay people there. And it's like, you know, it's not. And she was like, so I was like, well, whatever. So I started looking through a newspaper and I saw an ad for Liza Minnelli doing a show. And I was like, wow, oh my God, Halston. Like, I got all excited. I was like, wow, look at those costumes, look at that. I wanted to go. And my aunt refused to let me go. My grandmother was like, oh, well, you can go. And they got into this big argument about it. And my aunt refused to go. My grandmother, there was the one time my grandmother didn't stand up to her. And she said, no, you know, I'm like, well, I'm going to go by myself. And she's like, no, you can't go to San Francisco by yourself. And so I ended up not going. So I became obsessed with who this Liza Minnelli person was I wasn't supposed to see. So I started researching it, and then I started doing, I watched Liza first off, completely. And then, because my mom was exactly right, because she had a red wig, and I started watching the stuff with Judy and Liza, and there was a show with Judy and Barbara, and then I kind of became familiar with all of them through that. I was like, wow, so I kind of escaped into all of that. And the Barbara Streisand thing happened because my mom had a red wig, and I thought, well, she doesn't have a black wig, so I could do Barbara, because she kind of had red hair. So, I mean, you know, she never really wore her hair quite like that, but that's how it happened. So, anyway, thank you guys so much.